Okay, for this week, you're going to be working on a project called the crank slider assembly, and I've provided you with a zip file in Blackboard that you will download, uh, and I have downloaded a copy of it right here to my desktop, and you want to get that, and we're going to right click and go extract all, and wherever you save your work at, that's where you want to extract it to. I'm working off of my desktop, excuse me, here at the lab. So that's where I'm going to put it. So we extract it, and here is the folder. If you open that up, you'll see got some part files, the project file right here. I don't know why it duplicated that. I'll fix that before I upload the zip folder into Blackboard. But when you extract it, you'll have 5 part files and a project file. Okay. So in Inventor, you're going to want to go projects, and you want to browse to where you extracted that folder to. And then choose the project file, okay, and go open. Let it do its thing, and you'll see it pops up there. Now it's the selected file, and it will go done. Now let's look at some of these part files. I'm going to open all of them up because I want to show you a few things about them. Okay, some of these files are older version of Inventor files. Some are the 2016 version, especially Slider 1. I had to modify it. And I guess the crank here too. So if you get an error message and you cannot open the file, then you need to let me know so we can fix that. If you get a message saying this is an older version of the file, if you save it, it will not be able to open it again. That's fine. Not a problem with that. Okay, so let's look at these. Here's the part we call the base. Excuse me. And these parts are really pretty simple. The sketch on this one, okay, if you notice, it's symmetrical about my origin. This dimension is set to be half of this dimension. And just the way a lot of these parts are created, we're using that type of dimensioning system. Okay, and most of these things are centered on the different planes. Now on the back, it's not a big deal on these because of the way they mate, but because of the way this project goes together, it's easier to create the parts centered about the, I guess, the X and the Y axes there. Okay. The crank, same way. I'll just go to sketch, see we've got half of the length, okay? And same way, that one is symmetrical about my work planes, okay? If anything you can deal with as far as the origin goes, excuse me, makes it better for when you're creating, if you have to go back and edit these things. This one is the same way. The slider, if you notice it, there's a hole goes through it. This one, let me turn on these planes. So you can see it's made symmetrical this way, okay? And this way it is not symmetrical, but I know I wanted that hole at a certain point. And so when I extruded it, I'll show you here. I extruded it asymmetrically 1.5 inch, in this case to the left, 2 inches to the rear. Okay. And then the slot in it, you can see we're using a function for half the height of this. Okay, and that keeps it centered about those planes. All right. Now I did furnish you with a part file here called a pin. In the tutorial, we're going to use a pin from the Content Center, but if you do not have the Content Center installed at home, then you can use this pin right here, and it will work just fine. Okay. All right, so I'm going to close these down because I don't need them open. All right, we're going to go with a new English project. Da-da, da-da. Nothing like waiting on the computer, is there? All right, so now we're open. We're going to place the base part first. Okay, now we do want this grounded at the origin. Okay, now what I did is when I placed it, I right click. Oh, it put 2 of them in. What about that? I guess I clicked twice too fast. Anyway, okay, so here's my base part, and it didn't ground it. I always want these things to be grounded. Oh, I know what it is. The options on my computer are not set because it got some technical work done on it here. But when you place your first part, you always want it to be grounded at the origin. Okay, if that little push pin is not showing up, then just right click and go down and check grounded. What that means is that now you can't move that part. And when I look at my orthographic views, it should be straight on and straight up. Okay. All right, so we got our base in. Now we want to place the next piece. I'm checking my notes here. The crank. And I'm gonna pop it in here. Okay. And now I want to constrain it using a couple of mate constraints. So I'm just going to go constraint, I'm going to go mate, and I'm going to mate these 2 surfaces together. And then I want to use an axial constraint of the 2 holes. And I'll have to flip this over. Okay. All right, and so they're mated together, and then that will revolve. Okay, I can move that around. Okay, so that's good. Now we're going to place the next part. And we're going to put the rod. And the rod is a longer piece. And we're going to do the same thing again. Checking my notes here as to how it goes together. Okay, so it goes out to the front again.